Hi, this is Colin Woodward, and I'm going to interview Mr. Brad Mills here. He is a senior systems engineer at Brinker International, and this will be part of my finance project for Precal. Alright, so the first question is, what are the various jobs available in this field?
So in the IT world, there's multiple different things, but from my perspective, it would be from a systems engineer. You can do development, kind of infrastructure work. There's networking, and there's multiple different things. So it really can expand out to multiple different jobs.
Alright, what types of training do companies offer those who enter this field?
A lot of times companies will give you training that they'll send you off to classes and give you training. And a lot of times at the end of that, there's a test you can take to get actual certifications. And then sometimes companies, just depending on the company, they'll send you the training, but then they'll ask you to pay for the exam or whatever it is to get the actual certification.
Alright, in what ways is your occupation changing?
The IT field in general is always changing. With the rate, computers change and everything's going on. Software is always changing. Someone's coming out with something different. So it just changes at a rapid pace. But one of the big things now is in the infrastructure side of the house, which is what I deal with a lot, there's what they call managed services, where people come in from outside and provide the infrastructure piece. So it's usually off-site from the company. And so that change is kind of pushing some of these jobs to outside of a company more so, you become a contractor more so.
What is the employment outlook like in your career field?
In IT it's a great field. There's opportunity all over the place. You can pretty much go to any major city and there'll be IT jobs waiting. Everything involves a computer nowadays, so it's pretty open market.
So is there like a high demand for people in this career? Or?
Yeah, there's a high demand for all kind of IT engineers, from development to infrastructure to just the different, whatever part of IT you go into, there's a demand for that.
Okay, so then the field must be like growing pretty quickly then, right?
Yeah, I would say. You go look at the Silicon Valley in California, it's all technical companies that are out there, and so it's a big field.
Alright, what are the growth areas of this field?
I would say right now it's really growing in the application side. So if you go back to the 2000s when the dot-coms kind of took off, and Mark Cuban, that's how he made a lot of his money. Yeah. There's still a lot of that. The web is so huge, and there's opportunity everywhere for people to write an app or to do something that a company's looking for. So really the development side of the house is a big area. So.
Can you estimate future job openings?
If I had to guess, I would say, in just a market like Dallas, you're talking tens of thousands of jobs, if not more. So.
What parts of the country offer the best opportunities in this field?
The major cities, Dallas, Atlanta, California, Chicago, they all offer big IT jobs. Those are a lot of the big hubs. And then right now, outside of here, if you're talking internationally, India is a huge location for the IT world, because they do a lot of offshore type stuff that's all housed over there. So.
What are the opportunities in this career like?
Depending on what kind of, which part of IT, which part you select. It's like any job. You can go in as a entry level, move up to a mid, and then a senior level position, and then from there it would kind of roll into, if you want to do a management job or something like that. It's pretty typical of any kind of job market.
So then, what is the entry level salary in this field?
I would say entry nowadays is probably 45 to 50,000 a year. So.
And then what are the salary ranges for the higher levels?
Higher ends, I mean, you're talking 140 to 160,000 a year for, you know, higher end, you know, senior level positions.
Is there a salary ceiling?
Most jobs have a ceiling that, you know, that you hit, and then if you want to go beyond that, you're going to have to go into management and into what they call the C-level jobs, which, you know, CEO, CIO, you know, that kind of stuff, where it'll go beyond that.
Aside from such visible compensations as money and fringe benefits and travel, etc., what kinds of mental dividends does this career yield?
I think just the challenge, you know, of having a problem and having to work through that. You know, when something's happening with a computer, it's not always obvious of, hey, here's the issue. You've got to kind of troubleshoot and step back to, hey, what have we looked at? Have we tried this? You know, if that didn't work, what's the next step? You know, just getting engaged. It's really, it's mentally, it's a challenge every day. I mean, depending on what you're working on. So.
Is this industry like heavily regulated?
Not sure that it's necessarily heavily regulated. I mean, all the computer parts, the things like that are regulated from a standpoint of, you know, what's happening, and then from there, I guess, I mean, we could break it down into, if you have PCI, which is the payment card industry, that is very heavily regulated, so you have to meet certain standards every year. They'll come in and say, hey, you're vulnerable in this area, you need to fix this, and they'll do scans. And then if you're in the healthcare side of the house, there's a lot of what they call HIPAA, which is, you know, based around people's information not getting exposed. So there's regulations from those standpoints.
What do you find unique about your career field?
It's unique in the sense that there's different opportunities based on, for me anyways, from an infrastructure side of the house, with the different hardware and just different things that you could work with. You could work with Dell, you could work with HP. I mean, you can pick a line and kind of go that path, and then if you change jobs, it may be something completely different, right? You may go in, similar stuff, just different name brand. So I think just, you know, being unique from a standpoint of, you could really pick out, you know, what you want to focus on.
So from everything you've observed, what problems can you cite regarding working in this career?
What problems? I think really just probably any job is dealing with people. A lot of times, you know, in the IT world, it's not just you. You have to interact with other teams. You have to interact with the customers, and so sometimes the problem is just trying to communicate what you're doing to other people that may not understand what you're working on, and trying to explain it in a sense that makes, you know, that they get an idea and at least know what's halfway is going on. So that's the big area.
What skills or personal characteristics do you feel contribute most to success in this industry?
I think, you know, just having a mindset of troubleshooting, not just, you know, not getting stuck into, hey, it's always done one way. I mean, I think that's important if you're going to get into this industry, kind of open-minded thinking, and not everything's done one specific way. And then being able to adapt to change. If you go into the IT world, everything's changing all the time, so you have to be able to adjust to that.
And then, so the last question is, what sacrifices have you made, or what sacrifices have you had to make to succeed in this field? And do you feel like the sacrifices are worth it?
I would say early on in my career, you have to sacrifice. In the IT world, you have to be what they call as on-call. You carry a phone around, used to be pagers back in the day, and you get called in the middle of the night, have to get up and try to address a problem. And the field has changed quite a bit, because a lot of times we can do those changes or look at things right from the house now, whereas back in the early days we'd have to get up and drive into work. So it's kind of a sacrifice sometimes, being on call, but it was definitely worth, you know, the learning experience and being at the position I'm at today. So.
Yeah. Okay, so thank you so much, and good luck in the rest of your career.
All right, thank you.